So I've had clear skin my whole life up until April of 2023 when this happened. And this, and this. Fast forward to October and my skin was looking like this. And right now, this is what my skin is looking like. Hello and welcome back to this week's video. If you're new here, I am Ruby and today I'm going to be talking about my acne journey, my Accutane journey and my skin journey. It's going to be big. So let's get into it. So a little bit of background on my skin. So growing up, I didn't really have a lot of issues with my skin. I didn't have acne. I didn't have like regular breakouts. I would obviously have breakouts from time to time. It would usually be like one like really big spot around my period. But other than that, I was pretty lucky. But you know what? At the time, you don't really even realize it. You take it for granted because you don't know anything else and it's your normal, and having clear skin is just a given. And you don't really notice your own skin, you don't look at it too much, you don't notice other people's skin, and it's a very privileged place to be. And it's nice to get humbled, isn't it? And that is what happened to me. I got humbled in April of 2023. I had lived 30 plus years of life without acne, without skin problems. Started around April, and the only thing that I can think of the reason for this was I started creating makeup content around April. And I started like consistently like, you know, doing my makeup every day, filming and everything like that. The thing is, like, before that, I wouldn't wear makeup every day, but I would wear makeup often and I didn't have this problem. So I don't really know, maybe it was the new products I was trying. I was trying like, you know, lots of different brands, lots of different types of products. So maybe that's what triggered my skin. My skin got a little bit angry and annoyed at me and was like, please stop. That carried on for a few months up until August when I was able to clear it with a skincare routine, changing my skincare routine to what I knew worked for me before in previous times, and got my skin to look like this. So I still had some hyperpigmentation, but I wasn't really having any active breakouts anymore. So everything was good August, September, 2 months. 2 months was great. Then fast forward to October, my skin starts breaking out like this. This is kind of what's happening. And as the month goes on, it's getting worse. November was a really bad month. I had like 3 back-to-back trips, which didn't help. And I was in France, I was in Italy, I was in places with a lot of food that can trigger acne, like dairy and stuff like that. I was really stressed and I was really stressed out about my skin, stressed out about life and everything like that. So I think that was exacerbating the acne and the breakouts. Around this time, one of my friends had told me about Accutane. And I didn't really know too much about it, and I felt like I wanted to do more research into it before I potentially started a course of Accutane. I was going to Australia for a month back home, and I was like, you know what, I don't want to start this new thing, and I'm going to be away, and I'm not going to have my dermatologist, and I just was like, you know what, I'm going to wait a bit. So I decided that I would try to heal it naturally. So I tried an assortment of things. I tried to change my diet. I tried cutting out sugar. I cut out coffee. I was eating very, very healthy and it wasn't working as well. So I started taking supplements. I was taking zinc and I was taking a bunch of different things, you know, just from like doing my own research, basically. I tried switching back to my old skincare, which had good results the first time, but that was not working either. While I was in Australia, it did kind of improve a little bit. I felt like it was not as aggressive, the breakouts, but I was still getting them. The worst part about it was the hyperpigmentation that was left, like the acne marks. They take so long to fade. Like if you're my skin tone, you will understand this. It's very common in like deeper skin tones. Hyperpigmentation, it takes a very, very long time to fade. Months. Like 6 months plus, it can take a little small mark to properly fade away. So after Australia, I was still trying to kind of resolve it naturally. I was really, really unhappy at this point. Like I was just really sad. I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to make plans. I didn't want to see friends. I didn't want to put makeup on because I knew that it would aggravate my skin more. But obviously I was filming and I had jobs to do and everything like that. So it was a really difficult time because I didn't want to be on camera. And I had to be. I was like, okay, you know what? I said that I was originally going to give myself 1 month to heal this naturally. I've tried for 6 months. It hasn't worked. I'm just going to go on Accutane. I'd spent a lot of time researching, properly reading everything about Accutane, talking to my friends who had been on it. Those were probably the most helpful things, to talk to people who I know and trust to tell me their experience. I booked myself a dermatologist appointment. I did go private. I'm in London, so I went private because I knew that if I went public, I would have to wait a really long time, and I just wanted this to be over. I started Accutane in July. So what is Accutane? Accutane is a prescription retinoid medication that is used to treat severe acne. It's a vitamin A derivative that affects sebaceous glands. It helps treat acne by shrinking the oil glands and preventing clogged pores, decreasing the growth of skin bacteria and anti-inflammatory effects. During the treatment, Accutane also reduces oil or sebum production. This is obviously a hardcore medication and there is a lot of side effects that can happen. I just made sure to be really aware of what those were and just be prepared for that. This is what my skin looked like on the first day of taking Accutane, or the first week of taking Accutane. It actually wasn't too bad at this point. So within the first 4 days, I started to notice the medication working. The first side effect that I got was really dry lips. It's a very common side effect. Everyone gets dry lips. In the first month, I also got really fatigued and really, really tired. I don't know, I felt like I didn't have much energy. I was just so lethargic and so tired all the time. So in terms of my dosage, I started on 20 milligrams and my maximum dose was 40 milligrams. So I did 20 and then I up to 30. I did 30 for 2 months and then I did 40 for the rest of the time. I think my body was just getting used to the medication and after a while it was okay, it was fine. Probably by maybe like the 3rd or 4th week, I noticed that my skin, up until this point, my skin was not super dry. I actually felt like it was extra oily. And I think that was because I have oily skin to begin with. And I feel like all the oils were being pushed to the surface. Everything inside my skin was being pushed to the surface. Yeah, I was away in Greece for like a week. And I remember I had come back from the beach and I was doing taking a shower, doing my skincare routine. And I was using a cleansing oil. And the stuff that was coming out of my nose, like all the blackheads or like just everything that was in, like all the sebum that was in my nose was coming out. I was just like rubbing like really lightly. It was crazy. It was kind of satisfying, but also really gross. Everything was coming to the surface and clearing out my pores. And it was kind of amazing actually. So it is quite common to have a purge. That means that you get more breakouts than usual. Everything that's like kind of underneath the skin comes to the surface. I didn't notice like anything extreme. I had read somewhere that you can take an antihistamine to reduce the purge, and I did do that. I don't know, I feel like maybe it worked. I'm not really sure. I was still getting breakouts, but it wasn't like a huge like surge of them. In month 2, I increased to 30 milligrams and I did start to get drier skin. I noticed that if I didn't do my skincare right after the shower, my skin would feel so tight and so dry. I also started to get eczema on my hands and sometimes on my feet and legs, especially if I was in a hot environment, which I was, it was summer during this time. By the end of month 3, I was no longer having any breakouts. This is what my skin was looking like. And I was so happy at this point, I was just so happy with the results and how my skin was looking. I was so grateful. It was such a good feeling to know that something was finally working. So I was on 30 milligrams for 2 months and then I moved up to 40, which was my max. So basically from the beginning, I did start taking supplements as recommended by my dermatologist. I took a fish oil and I took a strong probiotic. I also took vitamin D. So now I'm going to talk about my skincare routine while I was on Accutane because I obviously had to completely change it. Originally I had oily skin and then I was suddenly having dry skin because of the medication. This is the cleanser that I use. It was the La Roche-Posay hydrating cleanser and really good one. I just feel like you don't need anything too harsh. You don't need anything too stripping or foaming while you're on Accutane. I used a hydrating spray, which is not recommended, but it's just like a nice little step. These are the ones that I used over the course of the last 6 months, and this is what I recommend. Then in terms of toners, the one that I loved was this Rhode Glazing Milk. It was honestly 10 out of 10. Oh my God. The way that it hydrates your skin, it gives you this amazing glow. I recommend it 1000%. It's really good and really gentle as well. These are my recommended moisturizers, ones that I went through, and I would always finish off with an SPF. This is my 100% favorite SPF right now and during the course of my Accutane because it was so hydrating. It left this like satin finish on your skin, this amazing glow, super natural, no white cast, 10 out of 10. I'll leave everything linked in the description box below. So for my nighttime skincare, this is where I would like to give my skin a little bit of extra hydration overnight. So I had a period of time where I used beef tallow. I wanted to try a natural moisturizer and this was honestly really, really good, but I don't know that this would work on my skin now that my skin's a little bit more oily. This is definitely for the dry skin girls, beef tallow. Get on it. I would use a Cicaplast once every, I don't know, maybe like once a week, twice a week. And usually I would finish off with an oil, usually a rosehip oil or a jojoba oil. And that was my skincare routine. Overall, I responded really well to the medication and I'm really happy with the results. I'm really glad that my acne has cleared and everything's kind of under control right now. So now let's move into the Q&A section of this video. So I asked on my Instagram, on my beauty page, if you have any questions, and these are the questions that you gave me. So let's go ahead and answer them. First question, did you have many negative side effects? I actually didn't. Like I didn't have too many side effects. I'm going to tell you what the side effects are, and I'm going to tell you which ones I had. Dry skin, eyes, nose, and lips. I did have that. I had all of those. Other skin problems, including rashes and mild itching. So as I told you, I got eczema, but it wasn't like frequent. It had only happened a couple of times over the last 6 months. Sore or dry mouth or throat. I just felt more thirsty than normal. And yes, I definitely woke up with like dry mouth for sure. Headaches I didn't have, and back pain and aches and pains in muscles or joints, which I didn't have either. How did you fade hyperpigmentation? This is a question that I got a lot actually. So hyperpigmentation was a big issue for me before. I was basically told by my dermatologist not to do anything extra for my hyperpigmentation and to just be patient and let the Accutane do its thing. It's naturally going to turn over your skin at a faster rate, so the hyperpigmentation will fade. It will pretty much be faded by the end of your course, which is what happened to me. I will say that the jojoba oil and the rosehip oil that I used every night probably did help to fade my hyperpigmentation marks a bit faster than normal. The next question, did it affect your mental health? I was really lucky. I feel like it didn't really affect my moods that much or my mental health negatively. So I honestly feel like my mental health was getting better because my skin was improving. I felt like, I just felt like this weight had been lifted off me and I felt less stressed. Mentally, I feel like I was actually doing better than before. Can you work out as normal? Yes, I did work out as normal. How dry did your skin get / was it peeling? So I was actually really concerned that my skin would be like peeling off. Like that's like a snake. Like that's what I envisioned before I went on Accutane. But that's really not what happened. And I feel like it just kind of made my oily skin, it took it down to like a normal level, like goes like oily, normal, dry. So I feel like I came into this normal level. I never really had like flaking or anything like that. Next question, how have you handled the painful, super dry lips that comes from Accutane? Okay, I have a killer lip care routine for you, but it's basically just one product. You only really need one product, but sometimes I would use two. So the Aquaphor is 10 out of 10. Everyone recommends Aquaphor. You must use it. You use a lot, okay? Don't use it sparingly in the evenings. Just like cover your whole mouth with it. Like, trust me. And this is another product that I really recommend. It's a La Roche-Posay lip balm. It's like a Cica, I think it's part of the Cica Plus range, but it's the lip balm version and it's really good. I would usually layer these two and my lips would be fine. Like once I figured out this like combination, my lips were fine. They did not crack, they did not peel. They just looked super juicy and luscious. Did you have acne when you were a teenager or only later? So yeah, as I said, I never really struggled with acne before in my teenage years. It was only in my 30s. The next question, did you go private or public? I did go private. And another thing that I'll mention is that you have to have dermatologist appointments every month. So they give you only one like prescription, like the prescription for the month basically. So you have to have an appointment and kind of discuss how you're feeling, how everything's going. They'll ask you a bunch of questions. Make sure that you're mentally okay. You have to do blood tests every couple of months to make sure that liver function and everything is also fine. You can raise any concerns in those appointments as well. And you also have to be on 2 forms of birth control or you can abstain. So those are the requirements for being on Accutane. So the final question that we're going to answer today is, will the acne come back? I got this question so much, honestly. It's so crazy because I don't know. Like, how am I supposed to know? Like, I don't have a crystal ball. I couldn't tell you. But it is common that it can come back after a course of Accutane. Most people have to do 2 rounds to fully get rid of it. That happened to a few of my friends. So I'm prepared. If I have to go on a second round, I will go on a second round. I'm okay with that, especially now knowing that the side effects were not too bad for me. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I can only take it as it comes. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that this helped. If you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments and I will get to answering them very soon. You can find me on Instagram at Post and Repeat for fashion content, also on Pinterest and TikTok. If you want beauty content, then at Post and Repeat Beauty on Instagram. And I really just want to say that if you're going through it with your skin, I understand. I completely get it. It sucks. It's the worst. It's just such a terrible feeling, but it'll get better. Trust me, it'll get better. And if you do decide to go on Accutane, obviously discuss it with your doctor, your dermatologist, and everyone people, family close to you, people who will be your support system. It's important to have that. Love you all so much. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.